You were laughing, TMZ. You were laughing at the fact that Charlie Kirk was basically unalived in front of thousands. And you are laughing, and now you're backtracking because a lot of people are not in accordance or not in agreement with what you did. Do not recount it, because these two guys right here, you can tell in their body language that they're sorry and remorseful because they were caught doing something they weren't supposed to be doing. Even if, like, for example, I think the guy on the left is the owner. Even if technically he wasn't the one, you know, cheering and whatever, kicking back there, he's still responsible for everybody. And I think that's the culture, the dynamic he's built in TMZ, and they are laughing at somebody who was sharing his opinions and wasn't alive for it. And not only that, like, he has kids, and the fact that you're just laughing that, you know, whoever unalived him created a couple of orphans and a widow is disgusting, and I do not like it. And yeah, TMZ, we will not be watching you anymore. Just saying, okay, bye.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you are watching me from now. Charlie Kirk, one of the most known activists in the US, was taken down a day ago. But whatever is happening on the internet today is very shocking. Some of the white Americans have come out to express how they feel, and most of them have taken it out of context. They are doing a dark humor. Most of them are forming memes and coming out with jokes that are meant to make people laugh. This is not sitting well with some of those of his supporters, because they are coming out very raged. So let's watch this video, then have a really quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
People that was laughing at Charlie Kirk death, y'all are not human. Y'all are some monsters. Y'all some fucking hypocrites. If you thought I was okay, then your mind is not okay, fam. I don't give a fuck if you disagree with that man. But nobody deserved to die. That man was a man of God. That man got killed for no reason. That man got killed in front of his children. This man got killed. You know how scarred his children are going to be? Do you know how scarred his mother's going to be? You know how scarred his wife going to be? And y'all some fucking disgusting human beings. If you think killing an innocent man going to prove anything, then y'all some fucking monsters. All y'all motherfuckers think laughing at an innocent man gonna solve anything. Y'all mind is not okay. This world needs some guidance. And do you know how many things that be going on in this world? Gun violence, school shooters. You know how many kids be getting killed by school shooters? You know how innocent them kids be? Do you see how scared them motherfucking kids be when them school shooters be going inside the school killing innocent kids? Do you see how fucking disgusting that is? Do you see how fucking ruthless these motherfuckers people can be? This world is evil. This world need protection. This world need God in it. Because this is not right. Y'all motherfuckers killing anybody. Anybody. This man was innocent. And y'all still striked and killed him anyways. Y'all need some fucking help. Y'all some monsters. You don't have no sympathy for another human, and that's just disgraceful.
If you're laughing about this Charlie Kirk situation, how moral actually are you? I'm such a lovey-dovey person, I'm such a really good person. Oh, ha ha ha, that person's not here anymore and his kids are going to grow up without a dad. Give your head a wobble. Well, the world's a better place without people like that, innit? Who says who? You. Who are you? One guy with one political opinion. Who's to say you're right? Who's to say anyone's right? Who's to say there's even an answer that's right? Who's to say there's even a fucking right way to do shit? What if the whole purpose of this whole existence is for us to trial and test and experiment and to experience and to feed back information and to gain wisdom as a collective? In what situation is it good for someone to go out like that? In public around so many people, live on the internet for his family to see? In what situation is it good to have a terror attack in a political debate in a public university campus? How are you justifying this and saying, oh, it's just a joke, let's just laugh about it, haha?
So everyone's seen the video, or everyone's heard about Charlie Kirk and everything that happened with Charlie Kirk and the fact that he's been killed on stage. I don't agree with his views at all. I don't agree with his views on gun law, on women, on immigration. I don't agree with any of it, just letting you know. But I also don't agree with the fact that we are all here celebrating a man's death when he was assassinated on stage in front of people, in front of his family, in front of an audience, in front of children who are going to be traumatised for the rest of their life because they viewed this. It makes me lose so much faith in humanity that people are sitting there and they're glorifying this death. They're glorifying how it happened. They're saying serves him right. Ironically so. I understand that I understand that. I understand that his views on guns and gun violence and the gun law is incorrect. I just think that morally, as a human being with emotions and feelings, how is it right for then somebody to come over and assassinate him because of what he said, because of what his views are? So you're glorifying politic violence then. What if somebody who you agree with, what if you agree with someone else's views and then they got things that he said were disgusting, really harmful, and in no way at all do I agree. I disagree. I couldn't disagree more, to be honest. But I also am a human being, and I think it's disgusting that people are celebrating this guy's death. No death should be celebrated at all. Vile, disgusting, awful.
TMZ is facing backlash over some of their employees laughing in the background while they were live reporting during Charlie Kirk's death. Now, I saw Harvey go on and make a formal apology saying that they were laughing at a video of something different, and it was not about Charlie Kirk. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think this is just a cover-up? I tend to believe TMZ. I mean, they haven't really lied to us that much. I don't even know. I mean, they usually verify everything. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the commentaries. Man, they're facing heat, and I get it. But I believe them. I think Harvey had said, I forget what kind of video they were watching. Guys were in the back watching. It's a big open studio, so it's very well possible while they're on live, somebody is looking at a video of a cute puppy or something pooping on the floor. I don't know. I digressulate. We'll talk about it today on the show live at 5 EST. Secret Service Sam out. Samson for president of TikTok. Join me on YouTube.
It has taken Charlie Kirk passing away for you to realize how evil this world is. I'm seeing so many people coming on the internet, on TikTok, crying, bawling, and shocked. We've had so many instances this year of children getting killed, like just so many things happening, and it never occurred to you that at that time that the world was evil. But this specific death tells you that the world is evil. I don't understand this kind of empathy. I don't. I think empathy should be offered to everyone, and we don't have to wait for like a public figure to pass away for you to say like, oh, this world is evil. This is terrible. If this is the only time you come in on the internet to say that, then something is wrong. If you not realizing that this world is evil because of Charlie Kirk passing away, then I don't know who your God is, but I think God has been showing that this world is evil for a long time.
White friends during this whole Charlie Kirk death is absolutely diabolical, because this was a lot of conservative white people's Jesus, which means they're gonna have a lot of white friends who are gonna agree with you, but they're not gonna say anything publicly because they don't want to upset their conservative white friends who this is like their mourning day. However, you have a lot of vocal white people, and I know some people's jobs may not allow them to say that, which I don't even think that's an HR rule. But with that being said, this goes back to my points of my previous videos. A lot of your white friends would rather be comfortable and rest in their whiteness than actually speak up for things that matter. This is not just social media, it can even be in like a social setting. A lot of white people are going to prioritize their whiteness and their comfortability and the privileges that it comes with rather than actually being on the right side of history. With that being said, I do not have any empathy for Charlie Kirk. As he said in his own words, empathy is not real. And I also extend my empathy to children lives lost in mass school shootings. I extend my empathy to victims of assault. I extend my empathy to every single person or marginalized group that Charlie Kirk would attack every single day with his platform. That is where I extend my empathy. I don't have empathy for somebody who said that Black women didn't have the same brain power and capacity that other people have. So Charlie Kirk can sincerely kiss my yes. I don't have any empathy for someone who was a white supremacist and spewed white supremacy ideology.
They want us to humanize Charlie Kirk now that he's gone. But let's be real, he spent his entire life denying humanity to literally everyone else. So don't expect softness now. This man wasn't just a conservative talking head. He called the Civil Rights Act a mistake. He said Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was nothing more than a DEI hire. He smeared Dr. King, mocked Black professionals, stoked fear of immigrants, and spent every breath turning white grievance into a brand. That's not political disagreement. That's a career built on stripping dignity away from entire groups of people. And here's the thing, right? The second he's gone, suddenly people want compassion. Suddenly it's about his family, his humanity, his legacy. Where was that energy when he was tearing ours down? When he was spitting on the humanity of Black people, Latinos, immigrants, queer folks? We're supposed to forget the damage because the man is dead? Death doesn't erase the harm. Death doesn't clean a record. And let's not pretend that that shot was sloppy rage. It was too clean. It was too sharp. Whoever did it knew exactly what they were doing. And the irony is that Charlie worshipped that same culture of guns and violence. He fed it. He amplified it. And it came back for him. That's not karma. That's America. So no, I'm not going to rewrite his story into something soft. The only sympathy that I have is for his children, because they didn't ask for his poison. But for Charlie Kirk, he made it his life's mission to divide, belittle, and dehumanize. And that's exactly how history should remember him. Not as a victim, not as a martyr, but as the hateful man that he chose to be. I think it's time you meet one of my puppies. This is Cooks. This is Cooks. Me Cookie. Aw, me Cookie. That's my boy. That's my boy.
Okay, I'm just going to say it. If you're one of those people that's celebrating that Charlie Kirk was shot yesterday and killed in front of his wife and children and 3,000 other students, not only do I think you're cruel and you're sick, I think you're dumb. You're literally cheering against the very freedom you rely on. Your ability to comment that is based on the fact that you live in a democratic society based on the foundation of freedom of speech. Charlie Kirk's life, and I don't agree with many things he said, but his life is based on the fact that he went to university campuses to help people think about different points of view, to cement their point of view more deeply. For example, people on the left now have someone that's challenging their point of view so that they can actually think deeply, is this something I believe? If you leave university with the same mindset you entered and you don't have any new ideas to take away with you, you wasted your time, you wasted your money, you didn't grow at all. Freedom of speech means protecting the right to speak, even for those you can't stand. If you lose that, we don't only lose Charlie Kirk, but we lose the foundation of democracy itself. So think twice about agreeing with someone being assassinated because they share a different point of view to you.
Of all the things I predicted this year, which isn't much because I'm not fucking Nostradamus, Charlie Kirk being assassinated definitely wasn't on that list. I'm going to be honest, I was deeply shocked by this information, fundamentally shook to my core and not in a positive way, because I can be very anti someone or believe they're evil or be fundamentally ethically against everything they stand for, but I cannot support something that comes from something else I'm fundamentally against. Cannot be for gun reform and gun control while simultaneously supporting the consequence of that not happening, even in these circumstances. And I know what he said just before it happened as well. And I also blame the systemic failures that led Charlie Kirk to have the ideology that he had more than Charlie Kirk himself. I can't be troubled about a lack of empathy in this day and age for the very real things I speak about and then not have any empathy towards this situation. I also know what Charlie Kirk's stance was on empathy and it being woke too. However, of course, there is going to be a lot of social commentary and discourse about this event. I'm finding it interesting. We're already seeing a pattern of people trying to police other people's reactions to it, and I'm not trying to police them policing either. I'm just saying I understand that there will be a lot of people who will also have it, not just a lack of empathy, but will celebrate his death. Because he wasn't just polarizing, he believed that certain people just didn't deserve to exist. He believed 10-year-old rape victims should be forced to birth their rapist baby. He believed immigrants didn't deserve due process before being ripped away from their family members and deported. He believed trans people didn't deserve to exist as their authentic self, and he didn't believe in equal rights for any of the LGBTQI community. We all know what he said about gun violence and casualties of that just being the way it is. And if someone was vocal in advocating for you not to have basic human rights or for you to not even exist, and then they were assassinated, I can understand why it would be hard to develop empathy or sympathy for that person. People are going to have very valid reactions to this, especially if they do come from one of the minorities that were impacted the most out of Charlie Kirk's ideals. And I think we just need to accept that. And maybe we should be more angry at the system that allowed this to happen in the first place. That's all.
See that? He's dead. Let's all go celebrate now, right? Because a father and a loving husband just died. Let's celebrate. Let's go out to the streets and parade. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican. Celebrating a man's death under any circumstance is extremely messed up. There's comments out there saying, is the bullet fine? Or don't celebrate yet, guys, because it's not confirmed yet. Like, come on. Most ironic part is a lot of people who are celebrating this guy's death claim to be Christian. Like, really? Because Jesus would go around celebrating people's deaths. Yeah, because he would do that. Originally, I was just going to come out here and wish for his speeding recovery, but it turns out, as we already know, he passed away. If you're a true follower of Christ, I ask if you can please pray for this man's family and his kids especially. They're going through an extremely rough time. And to those who made fun of this, I hope you turn your life to Christ and let him reform your heart.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you are watching me from now. Something is happening and it is very, very crazy. Now, let me take this time before I begin to say anything on this channel to say or to put a disclaimer that this channel does not support any type of violence, be it physical violence, be it gun violence. This channel doesn't. And the opinions expressed on this channel belongs to the person who expresses the view and does not necessarily mean that's the stance of this channel. Now, I've seen so many things happening and many people talking about the tragic passing of Charlie Kirk. This is not the best way things should be handled. You know, however much you disagree with a person, I do believe that there is a better way of doing things than going with violence, which ends up taking someone's life. Now, apart from that, we've seen a lot of the white community, some coming out to make joke out of whatever happened. And you might be asking yourself, what really did Charlie Kirk do to the people that they want to be this way, or they are actually showing no remorse? Now, I've always sympathized with when someone has a problem like this, and it is from my deepest or it is from my heart that I say I give my deepest condolences to the family and to the children, especially the young children that are growing together with the wife. Now, most people have been differing, or most people have differed politically, culturally, racially, and with a lot of dynamics to be considered in this. And this was the life of Charlie Kirk. There was so many things that he differed with so many people. And I feel for this one thing, it doesn't justify whatever happened. But my question today is, why are so many white people, you know, some of them are very happy about whatever was happening. I now even looked at the video after the shooting. You can see someone was celebrating, some people are celebrating in the crowd. And you must be asking yourself, why or why have we become this ruthless with our brothers and sisters? It doesn't matter if you come from the left or you come from the right wing. It doesn't matter if you're conservative or if you're a lefty. Life matters a lot, and it is one sacred thing that should be protected by all means. Now, Charlie Kirk was the founder of Turning Point USA, built his career on a right-wing activism, often presenting himself as a defender of conservative values against what he framed as liberal or progressive threats. All this time that Charlie Kirk was going around the US, holding meetings, open air meetings, and talking to the young youths, you could always see how he argued out his points. And sometimes he carried a lot of ideologies which differed from the people around him and the people in the crowd. And you could see that most of the people were frustrated or were very angry, most of those who talked, because they didn't agree with whatever he said. And most of them felt like he was very, very radical on some of the things. But that does not qualify the fact that, or doesn't justify whatever is happening. It doesn't really. Actually, it doesn't. And most of the people, or some of the people who are now happy, it must be remembered that he differed with them politically, socially, economically, and the racial dynamics that he usually talked about most of the time. It is something that many people are not used to this, And as a matter of fact, most of them felt like he was pushing them to the edge, And he made sharp comments about race, immigration, gender, and economic justice. Many of these weren't just conservative. They were perceived as dismissive or hostile, especially toward minorities and working class groups. Yes, he had a lot of controversies. And Charlie Kirk really used to talk his mind. He used to discuss whatever he thought was right, And most of the people maybe felt like he was hostile, and he didn't accommodate their views in most of the cases. And we are actually seeing his historic positioned him as a culture warrior, not on fire. That meant he had passionate supporters, but also an equally passionate group of detractors, including plenty of white Americans. Yeah, many people actually supported him. That's why, or many people interested in his topics. That's why you could see that his meetings had large crowds of people. Even the last meetings, the meeting he was holding at Utah was a very large meeting. Now, I've seen people celebrating, and I'm like, wait, why will you celebrate someone's tragedy? Why will you celebrate when someone has been taken down? That was very serious. In fact, you can't see the images twice. And now I came to understand when I was going, I knew the guy back like 3 months ago, not 3 months, but during the Donald Trump's campaign last year. Then I didn't pay much interest with whatever he was saying at the moment. But this time, after all that has happened, it has taken me back to his page. It has taken me back to his clips. And I've now been trying to go through whatever he stood for, whatever he has been saying for years, and whatever he advocated for a very long time. And some of the things he used to say, they are not bad, but I do say when someone talks, they're only expressing their personal views or ideas on a subject, and that does not mean that the whole world must do that. So you can't use that against a person. Maybe, I know a lot of things he said that were not good, including when he said about a pilot that was taken, that really meant a lot to the black community. And you could see the frustration that was coming out of the black community. He has been talking about so many other things. I know most of the people disagreed with the point that he said a college degree is useless. Yeah, it might be useless or it might be important. It all depends with whatever or whoever is holding the degree. And someone might have a degree and it helps them in life. It changes their lives. It makes them better. How they think, how they dress, how they do everything, and maybe get them a good job and all that. But someone else can get the same degree, but the life remains the same and maybe disastrous. So when someone just says a college degree is useless, it can be taken in two contexts. Sometimes it doesn't really just mean it is useless. That is personal opinion and you must listen. That's why I know there is freedom of speech in the US, that you can say anything and you have that freedom to say anything that you want, regardless of who is around you or who you are addressing. But it also must be considered that your opinion should not hurt other people directly. That your freedom of speech should be not a distraction to others, or it should not be harming others or inflicting pain to others. He was a Trumper. He used to advocate for Trumpism, and that white America isn't a monolith. That must be put into consideration. And many younger people, suburban moderates and progressive, despised Kirk's brand of Trump-aligned populism, And to them, he wasn't a hero. He was an agitator who helped spread division and misinformation. This is whatever I wish to say. That I've gone through videos of one Charlie Kirk. He was a good ally of the US President, Donald Trump. He really advocated for most of the things Trump has been saying. That he has been advocating for Christianity. He has been advocating for gender. He has been advocating for things that Donald Trump initially was saying, and he keeps on saying. The thing is, most of the people in the US are not monolith. Like, they do not just agree with one side of a story, or they just don't agree with everything. You'll always get two groups of people, or more than two, in a single discussion. When you say that there are only two gender, other people will try to challenge you and bring along evidences and whatever. Sometimes you have to accommodate whatever people think about a topic. Now, later on, you're going to realize that politically, he was a Trump supporter. And for that reason, he might be having problems with the people from the Democrats, And this is whatever you are seeing online at the moment. Those who didn't agree with him are very happy with whatever is happening. However, I didn't agree with some of the things he used to say. After watching many of his videos, I agree with some of the things he advocated for, but I do not agree with so many other things he used to say. And for that reason, it doesn't really mean that I should be celebrating. That reason doesn't mean that someone should be celebrating. The fact that it happened in a very brutal manner, it doesn't just qualifies or justifies anything. We need to be very humanly. However much we carry different opinions with people, But there are things when they happen, you have to look at the two sides of a coin. I do not support him. I do not support with all these things that are ongoing. I think it is traumatizing the family maybe because they have lost a loved one, and seeing all these videos on social media, it is just not bearable at the moment. Thank you so much for having taken your time to watch this video. If I really did offend someone with the comments, I'm really sorry. And remember, as I said, a disclaimer, this channel does not support any type of violence, be it gun violence, be it physical violence. It doesn't really mean whatever views someone carried or ideologies that someone used to advocate for. But we all humans, and the biggest thing and that we should protect is life. Life is sacred and it must remain that way. Thank you.